Summertime is really our harshest season. Because of the heat, it's really hard on us, but it's also really hard on our landscape. So in this segment, we want to give you some tips on kind of how to monitor your landscape and kind of help it basically to survive through the heat that we have. So in the summertime, water demand increases significantly. And so for you to help manage your water in your landscape, the best tool you have is choosing the right type of plants. So if you're putting in a new landscape, definitely look for more of the desert adapted or even the native type plants. But if you have existing plants, maybe some of them are struggling, you kind of want to replace them, you kind of want to refresh your landscape, again, look towards the desert type of plants, because those are the ones that kind of survive better with our heat, but also use less water. And so that's really critical, obviously, is to kind of reduce the amount of water we use, but still have a really healthy and sometimes lush landscape. So the really critical tool that you have to help you manage your landscape is how you irrigate. And it's really critical in the summertime. First of all, if you have a drip system or a spray system for grass, the earlier the better. So if you can water and you can start watering at even 3, 4 a.m., it's a lot better because you lose less water to evaporation. If it's kind of windy, you're not having water go all over the place. So the water really gets to the roots of the plants. And so that's kind of the key tip, is to water really early on your irrigation system. The other tool that you can kind of use is hand watering. So sometimes if you just have some plants that are really struggling, instead of increasing the irrigation system to water everything, use a hose and hand water some of those specific plants. And then you just run it for 20, 30 minutes. You kind of sit around, you monitor it. You don't want to just turn it and leave because there's a lot of water coming out. But again, it's a really good tool to kind of help some of those plants that are struggling without increasing watering throughout the landscape. So another important thing to remember is just how much you water in the summertime. So although we allow up to 6 days a week, for a drip system, typically you can get by with watering 3 to 4 days a week. And in fact, if you have desert type of plants, you can even get by with twice a week. So even though you can do 6, you don't need to. Now, if you have grass, it's a whole other issue, and sometimes you will need to water 5 or 6 days. But just keep that in mind, that you don't need to water the full amount, especially with a drip system. So hopefully all these tips kind of give you some ideas and tools that will help you kind of manage your landscape through the summer. Again, because it is the harshest season, it's the one that you really have to kind of stay on top of, checking your irrigation system and really monitoring your plants to see that everything is healthy.